Saturday, how do you think this thing shapes up? How are you feeling for the Tigers?
So let's have an honest conversation about South Florida, because I covered Bama for the last 2 years. I think that fan base would tell you for a while now. This is they play some teams pretty tough. Like they're not Ohio State. They're not even Boise State. Well, they are now, I guess, because they beat the crap out of them the first game of the year. But I mean, like, this is a good team, and I think that was always going to be a tougher game than people gave it credit for. I think looking at LSU, and specifically at LSU with this game, there's some question marks here. Trey'Dez Green's out, or he's listed as questionable. I think he's out, just given from what we'd heard throughout the week being down here. Braylon Moore being day-to-day and practicing already, that was a pretty big surprise to the media, I think, on Tuesday. But he's practiced Tuesday and Wednesday. That's a high ankle sprain, which, just as well as I do, that doesn't go away. So it's like, tape it up, figure it out, and go. I think the interesting thing about this game is anybody expecting Florida to be what they were last week is wrong. You're in for a long night, because there's still a lot of talent here. There's still a lot of talent here on the team in places that win you ball games. And that is in the trenches, that is at the skill position, and that's a quarterback. And so I think this game plays out early on. I think it plays out a lot like that Tennessee game last year, where it's close, back and forth. I do love this LSU team, and I think there's a lot of question marks still on offense. But I think the thing that separates them this year versus last year is the defense. I think is legit. The defense is, you saw it in fall camp, going out there a lot. The defense is legit. It's got dudes. They're playing so much faster, dude. They're playing so much faster than a year ago. They look a lot better.
Yeah, I think that was something we definitely noticed in that Clemson game, was the defense, and that was a big struggle for them. My question, and I think where Florida has to capitalize, and we're going to break it down more, I'm going to get your side, but is that O-line. And when I saw the center was questionable, again, a very young line as it is, a line that I saw some reports that was struggling earlier in the preseason camp, but then you had Kelly come out and say it's the best O-line we've had, and I think it held up for the most parts against Clemson, but now there's question marks on Clemson. How are you feeling about that line going into Saturday?
Yeah, it's so weird, because didn't feel like in week one we thought we knew so many things, and then week two it's not like, do we know anything?
Still playing the question game, still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, well, and I think part of that a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like this preconceived bias and this notion that, like, we really do want to be right. We want to know what we think we already know and all those things. I think that when you look at this team, the offensive line especially, they are ripe for some issues. And like I thought Clemson was the best team on paper going into the season. Like that defense having four or five guys that were projected to be first round picks. Like, you can call me stupid if you want. I'm looking at this and I'm like, dude, they got dudes everywhere. What is this? You remember the Florida game last year? That LSU offensive line gave up 15 sacks on the year. Half of them came against this team. Yeah. So I think that's a really, really valid question. I think the other part of it too is I don't know if that necessarily goes away with 5 new offensive linemen. I think that it's not just the dudes that Florida has that's going to pose a problem. I think it's the schematic way they're going to go about trying to get pressure on Nusmeier. And if we're being honest, defense has been great. Offensive line's been better than we thought. Run game hasn't been great, but better than we thought. There's a lot of positive things to say about LSU through 2 weeks, even with the lackluster performance. You know who hasn't really been the guy we thought he was going to be is kind of Nusmeier, if we're being honest. Like, with the receivers that he has, 6.1 or 5.9 yards per attempt is not – I mean, that's crazy to me that it would be that low.
I was going to ask my next question, because I know he had the knee scare, the knee gate, if you will, that occurred. I heard Kelly say it was like a patella thing. Is that something you think? I mean, we were having it with DJ about possibly slowing down a little bit. Do you think he's fighting through that, or is he just got to take a poop like Arch does? And sorry,
that was the weirdest thing ever. Yeah. Great reference there. No, I thought the DJ thing was blown so far out of proportion too, because it's like unrelated. That immediately became this narrative, like, he's injury prone. It's like, no, he's playing football. And also, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure you played sports. Like, a calf strain in the dead of summer, when you're like running as much as you are and going through all these explosive drills and whatever else, like, I thought it got blown out of proportion. The knee thing with Nuss has been an issue for a while. I don't think it was as big of a deal as they made it out to be, because the media wasn't even there for practice that day. It was just like all of a sudden it was everywhere. Yeah. I don't think he's battling through that, man. I think that they are trying to figure out ways to get everybody involved. And right now, I think he's kind of sticking to his guns on who can I trust in this offense, And for the most part, it's Aaron Anderson. And that's a familiar face from last year. He was really good. I think he's a returning leading receiver, had over 800-something yards. But, dude, they got 3 20-plus yard receptions on the year, which is second to last in the SEC. I made the mistake of bringing that up to Brian Kelly. He did not appreciate it. And like, all 3 have gone to Anderson. So, I think there's some concerns there. I don't think it's a health-related thing, but I do think that there's, like, just something off right now in terms of the offense gelling as much as we thought it would.
I think you make a good point of it's just trying to find that identity, because last year you didn't run the ball as effective as I think you could have because of that offensive line, which put Gus into a situation where he had to sling it, which ultimately turned into turnovers as well. But you saw his ability to throw the ball. And when you're throwing the ball 40-plus times a game, almost playing catch-up, you can kind of find a bit of a rhythm, and maybe he hasn't found that rhythm yet. And so we'll see. Question from Army Sniper, Tim Bucks. What does Chris think about Napier retaining play calling? All other elite coaches have passed the torch to their coordinators. I think it's a little bit of a troll question, but I appreciate your take on it.
I just want Billy Napier to do things that are going to make his life easier. And maybe he thinks this is what they have to do to win games. Listen, we were all here a year ago, and everyone thought that the sky was falling. I've been in the camp, and I've never thought Billy Napier got a fair shake. Like, we were talking about the 2024 season and his schedule in 2024 in the summer of 2023. And it felt like this whole thing, everyone's expected him to be on the hot seat. And what we saw last year probably should have met with a parade, and it was met with even higher expectations. It's only game 2. I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't mean that in a negative way. I really don't.
No, I got what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, and now you look at it, it's like, God dang, dude, they play 4 top 10 teams in the next 6 games. The only unranked team they play in the next 6 games is the team that just beat Arizona State. So, like, the schedule sucks. I jokingly say this all the time. I feel like if you told me Kirby Smart made it, I would not believe you. But giving up the play calling, I don't know if he should or not, because I don't know who else would be in charge of that. And I don't know if that is a white flag that he is waving. Part of me really loves the fact that this dude is like, you know what? You guys doubted me in the fan base, in the media, in the national media the entire time last year. We turned it around then. Like, no, man, stick to your guns. It worked last year. It's worked before. Like, it sucks that they lost last week, but I mean, dude, stick to your guns. It's what brought you here. It's what still has you here. Like, I kind of respect it.
I want to get 2 more questions because I know you got to rip, and I appreciate you tuning in, man. This has been awesome. It's just score prediction is going to be the easy one, but Brian Kelly kind of took Brian Kelly's personality is a weird one. All right. And I think that all coaches got to be a little bit of goober. That just makes him tick a little bit. But when asked about Napier, he's like, oh, I love the guy. It felt very like, please keep him. We love playing him even though he lost to him last year. It was like, that guy's a good guy. It's a hard thing. It just doesn't seem genuine at all. Like he last week he's roasting Paul Feinbaum and Dabo, and this week he's tapping Billy on the back. I just don't believe it.
That was me that asked the question about Dabo.
Oh, perfect.
So I will say I think
do you think he's trolling? Was what I'm getting at, or do you think that he?
No, I really don't think he was. I mean, my fiance's coming in to show me something. Sorry, and I have ADD, so we're all over the place here. I don't think he was. I think that Brian Kelly gets a ton of hate, and I get SEC fans are going to hate everybody, but I feel like everything outside the building, and maybe I'm just a bad judge of character. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's anywhere close to being as disingenuous as people think outside the building. What he said, it kind of surprised me because he ran with it, right? But he is, if you meet him in person, man, he's a very likable and funny and charismatic dude. And what he said, it felt, to me at least, more so like, there might have been a tinge of what you're saying. It might have been a tinge of like, no, keep that guy around. But at the same time, it also very much felt like, listen, like the expectations of this dude have been very, very high and a little bit unreasonable if we're being honest. And that's coming from somebody that's kind of facing the same thing. I mean, he talked about it in the answer. If you watch the whole thing, he brought up, he's like, sometimes like things take time. Coach O was in here. You don't think Coach O made a different type of approach to things? Like, Coach O had his girlfriend's kids out there running routes during practice. Like, that's a real thing that was happening in the walls of that practice facility. Brian Kelly's handling things differently. I think that he's looking at this from a standpoint of the expectations I get sometimes are unfair. What they're getting to Billy Napier is probably a little bit unreasonable and unfair too. And it almost felt more like he was trying to stick up for that in a weird not misguided, but in a weird type of way.
I mean, look, I think there's a little narcissism there. He probably was more so trying to defend himself.
Yeah, yes, that's a good point.
He was just trying to say,
If we had therapists to come on the show and break it down, I feel like he would have said exactly what you just said.
yeah, like he's trying to be nice, but in the same breath, like it's tough. Take it easy on me, all right?
Right, right.
I love it. Score prediction, man, for Saturday. You said slow start, but what do you think?
I don't even know if it's a slow start, man. I think it's a very competitive game.
Okay.
I probably misconstrued that because of the Tennessee way that game started last year, but I think it's a very tight game at first. I just believe too much in this offense, this defense for LSU. I think it's tight, back and forth. I think Billy Napier's going to have some up his sleeve in the first quarter when they're on script. But I also think that over time, I think the one thing that the biggest strength of this team has been the secondary for LSU. And I think being on the road with Lagway, like it's going to be a little bit different environment. And the biggest thing, man, I think that there's just a chip on their shoulder right now that there are not like they looked bad last week, but that Clemson game was something they had circled for months. Then you have this sandwich game against La Tech, and now you get Florida coming back to town. There's going to be a lot of people amped up for that. Final score, I'm going to say LSU 30, Florida 20 or 21.
Okay. Big pull away at the end there, which is kind of in typical fashion. Yeah. Look, I love it. Fantastic takes, man. I appreciate you tuning in. This was great. I think getting your insights and hearing just kind of the different nuances is great because we see it from our side. But and I talked to a lot of guys close to the Gator program, but this has actually been really cool and very insightful. So love to have you back on, man. I appreciate it. This was a blast, and all is good, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate the kind words, dude. I've watched your show before and really, really enjoy what you do. I think it's a great job, and I also love the background setup. It's a lot cooler than what I've got going on over here, which you can't even see. It's just one bookshelf. So
got to start somewhere.
Appreciate the work, man. That's right.
Man. All right, man. Be good. Go get it. Later, man. All right, Swatter, get back in here, big fella. Let's continue on with Swatter left. Swatter's like, I've had enough. I'm not even gonna tune in for that. Well, we'll get Swatter in here, break down our perspective of the game. I thought that was a great analysis there from Chris. Obviously, you heard him there. He covers LSU very closely. Was there today asking Brian Kelly great questions. So, love that. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna have Locked On Canes next week to get that perspective, and we're gonna do a really good job trying to get more insiders from those teams to give us their perspective. I think it gave a very healthy take on the game on Saturday, and I don't disagree with some of the things that he said. Let's get Davey on in here, see how he feels about this game going into Saturday. Swoldy, big guy.
There I am.
What did you think of his takes, man?
I don't know. I was using the restroom. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think this game is obviously Florida's like in week 3 and their backs are already against the wall. Like, I'm tired of our backs being against the wall when we play a certain opponent. I wish their backs were against the wall. But Florida's backs are against the wall in this game. I agree with everything that he said. I think Florida can take advantage of the O-line and some of the not really the deficiencies, but I guess the newness on the O-line there. As I said, LSU did a pretty good job against Clemson. It was actually pretty impressive considering the defensive line that, Clemson has with Peter Woods and some of the other guys. Quarterback-wise, Nuss, I haven't really been impressed with him so far this season and what he's done. But also I can say DJ Lagway, I haven't really been impressed in anything that he's done in this game. So I think here something has to give, right? Will it be defensively? Will it be offensively? I don't know. You get Caleb Banks back. That's going to help out on the D-line there. You got just the same receivers you played last week. You got Jaden Ball running the rock. I believe in that, and I think you should run Jalen Ball early in this game. But at the same time, like I don't know, man. I think I think honestly, on paper, the teams are matched up pretty good. Like I think it's pretty equal. I did see the spread. The spread went down like 2 points today too. It was 9.5 or 9. Now it's down to 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know who the odds makers are on that and why they did. I don't know if they saw an injury report or they saw something that we didn't see. So, or maybe just a lot of bets flew in for Florida and they're thinking maybe I can make some money and maybe they pull off the upset here. But it is in Baton Rouge, as I said. The last time we won in there was a long time ago. So it's going to be very difficult in that stadium. I think I don't know, man. I think DJ Lagway, this is the game that, he gets slapped in the face a little bit. He's going to take some hits. He's probably going to take some sacks, whatever. But I think now, having that USF loss, having that players meeting, something's got to give there, right? And I think Florida can pull off the victory, but I think it's going to be really hard. I like it. Baton Rouge is just a place that is really hard to get the hell out of with a victory.
You go back to last year, we took them down 27-16. We didn't do anything crazy. The biggest thing was, I would say, is we took care of the ball. No interceptions. DJ was 13 for 26 for 226 yards. You're not writing home about that. Jaden Ball was 6 for 65, and Jacoby was 6 for 37. And Montreal was 2 for 14. We didn't run the ball. We had 113 yards rushing. We weren't explosive in any asset of the game. What we did is what we kind of did on Saturday is we shut them down defensively, but we just were able to put up a few more, and we had that big breakout run by, I think it was Ball at the end of the game that separated it, because at this point it was a close one. It was a nail-biter all the way up into the end, and we pulled away, if we all remember. And I think this game has the pieces and the fixture to roll the same way, if you will. The things that I'm concerned about, and I don't know, is how is this team mindset going to be? Is it going to go in there and just be deflated like it was at Texas after Georgia when DJ went down, when you could just tell nobody wanted to be there? I mean, we didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
He mentioned Chris being him about this defense, the secondary being much better. I don't think that concerns us too much, because I don't feel like that's been our strength. It's gonna be running the ball and then attacking their offensive line. 7 sacks last year was massive. We haven't had any sacks this year. I think that our defense has been playing more of a mobile quarterback and an up-tempo offense is reason for that. Not a good excuse, but I think that's why this offense will play more into it, and it played into it last year a little bit as well. With Caleb Banks coming back, we'll get more pressure, maybe more freshness in that interior defensive line. If Kelly watched any film last week, it's going to be up-tempo. I'm going to be interested to see if they try to get them to up-tempo at home in your own stadium. You can get away with a few things. You can get away with kind of maybe going outside the box and getting a little crazy, because those big plays can cause for your audience to be involved. And you want, when you're in Death Valley, for those fans to get involved quickly and early on. What I would like to see from DJ is very J.J. McCarthy-esque, what we saw on Monday Night Football with the Vikings. There was just a lethargic movement to this Vikings offense. I was like, these guys are cooked. I was thrashing JJ. I was like, this guy is not ready to go. And then a switch just flipped. This guy's been a champion forever. He's went out at every single level. Went into the huddle to Aaron Jones said this on the podcast. I saw it on Pat McAfee. Goes in, he goes, where else did you guys want to be? All right, let's get after it. And he goes out there. That mindset is what DJ has to do. It's like, where else are we going to be, boys? What else do you want to be doing on Saturday night? Lock it in. And maybe, him getting whacked around and popped a bit, maybe good. Get some game in you. Get a little dirt on you. Put some ice paint on. Let's go in war, baby. We haven't really, yes, USF punches us in the mouth in the sense of the game, but I never really felt like we were out of control. We just kind of like teeter-tattered back and forth and then just like gave up at the end, right? Nobody really came and just punched us. Maybe a big whack might wake everybody up. And on the other side of the ball, too, there's going to be some high animosity with the Jack Pyburn situation on that side of the ball. Errol Perkins is going to be a big one to keep an eye out. They moved into that nickel star position. He is able to fly all over the field. Very Caleb Downs-esque like now. Love that kid to death. I'm not going to love him on Saturday, but he is so electric and so fun to watch. That is going to be something that I want to know what Billy does. What are we going to do to manage that threat on the outside? So that'll be something to keep an eye on as well. Typically, we play LSU later in the season, right? Where the guys are a little bit beat up, we're wore down a little bit. We've seen some things, but everyone's fresh. And to be honest with you, though, we don't know much about any team, because I don't feel like you've seen the best out of both of them. If anything, you saw the most out of LSU because they had to dig deep against Clemson. But I agree, on paper, we match up. I truly don't believe we've seen our full potential. I said it last year when we were down 1-2 against Miami and A&M, and I was right on that. Just a little, a dollar late and a dollar short on it, but we were right on it, right? We saw it click in that UCF game. Tennessee, we should have won that one. Georgia, we had the DJ situation, but we found a rhythm for sure. So, look, I'm not being facetious here. I think his score prediction, I 38-21 isn't a horrible one, because I think he thinks it, like he said, it'll be close, and then LSU pulls away. I like Florida. Look, I'm going to take the boys. You already knew that. You already know this. They got to hold LSU to 20. Okay, that's going to be my take on it. I think Florida puts up 24. I think 24-20. It's going to be a close one. I do believe that, and I think that the defense will continue to do what they've been doing all season. And with look again, Garrett hasn't looked great. I think they're going to try to run the ball. I think they're going to have some success. You have to understand when you play teams, they're going to do what they're good at, right? Like Byron Brown, like he was gonna have a big play. He was gonna spin. Like those things are expected. They have a pulse on the other side of the ball. You just can't let it get out of hand. And so I think that that's where Florida can capitalize. We'll just see where they're at mentally, and if Billy, pulls his head out of his ass, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, this game's very interesting. Like over the years, like usually Florida and LSU, they
You can
play
call
each
in
other
Bozeman.
really close. Like there is hardly any blowouts between Florida and LSU when they play. I mean, you go back to last year, 27-16, year before 35-52, 35-45, 42-49, 34-37, 28-42, 27-19, 16-17, 16-10. I mean, I could go down the whole list, but like the Florida LSU game is always an interesting game because it's always back and forth, and it really it to me, it's like it doesn't matter how bad some of these certain teams are. They always are up for this game, and this game is always close, and it's always like a nail biter till the end. And I mean, I went to the game last year, and everybody remembers the Jason Marshall interception that got called back because Gervon Dexter roughed the passer. I mean, that was still a close game. Florida actually came back in that game and almost won that game, and that would have been a game-saving interception, or at least you hoped that would have been. Um, so, I mean, in this scenario, like the way that Florida's been playing offensively, defensively, missing tackles, all that other kind of stuff, like to me, I think LSU's going to run away with the game. I would pick LSU right now, but considering the history of this game and how close that this game has always been every time that they've played, it's kind of, I mean, and even the spread has went down to like 7.5 points, and Vegas usually is pretty correct for the most part. Sometimes they're not, like last week. But I mean,
I
this
think they
game
were right.
probably
I think
this
they were
game
right. They were still. I mean, they've got Miami favored by 18 this week. They're right about that. They're rarely that wrong. I mean, something catastrophic has to happen, and I think that's what happened last week, unfortunately.
yeah, that was just a cluster, you know what. But I think it'll be close, but I think I'm kind of with Marler on this one. It's probably going to pull away because of what I've seen the past 2 weeks. Now, if Florida can go in there and prove me wrong and punch them in the mouth, punch them in the teeth, I'm going to think, man, this team bounced back and they're revamped, and maybe they can take on the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hell of a matchup. I think you're spot on. If they can show some life here, you feel a lot more optimistic headed into the rest of the season, for sure. I think Miami will be your next tough match. I think they're going to look really good, especially after that. I think they steamroll USF this weekend. I think that'll put more emphasis on that game. But I missed a super chat from Ira Jones. $5. If we beat LSU and USF beats the Sucker Canes, then what? I like Billy Napier
Yeah.
as a man, but damn, if he needs a killer instinct, but he needs a killer instinct. I mean, look, Chris kind of led to the like, hey, this USF team can be tricky. I believe that. I'm not taking anything away from them. If they take down the Canes, I mean, yeah, you're having a whole different. I mean, it does change the conversation a little bit. I think it would. But I don't think it happens. I don't think it happens.
It would